Come and knock on our door.
Knock on our door.
We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
Where the kisses are hers and his. Three's company too.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum.
Whoa, ha, 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 ha. Whoa, ha, 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 ha. Whoa, ha, 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 ha. Whoa, ha, 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 ha.
Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum.
Whoa, ha, ha, ha,
I'm Chrissy, aren't I? I'm Chrissy in this scenario,
No.
huh?
Down
I
at
don't
our
like
rendezvous.
Come on, like
Trees company cheese.
you all that
the
tres
show.
dos, trois.
Yeah.
Praise the
You
Lord,
gotta
niggas.
Praise the Lord.
And welcome back to the Blackest Show About Nothing.
Oh my
Yay.
God! Praise the Lord, blackest niggas about nothing.
It's a mashup,
that so
guys.
much.
Don't you love it?
Yeah, mashup episode. We have a fantastic guest today, and how this mashup came to fruition was outside of my own general laziness.
Lazy bookie.
I was like, how can I make this work for me? So our guest today is a wonderful academic or a person of academia. He's a doctor. How am I supposed to say
He's
that?
a sociologist. He's a sociologist.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
Yes.
wonderful. He's a sociologist, and he's also a black homosexual man. And so I think
He's written a book that is out.
He writes a whole book about
now.
being a black
Yeah.
homosexual man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we brought the worlds together. So sorry, getting grown audience. Y'all are fine. I'm just
Yeah, that's what are you
y'all are fine.
apologizing for? What? Like,
I know.
Yeah, it's a good time. And you know, it's information for all.
It is.
Exactly.
It is. Oh, I don't mean the kitchen table. I just meant our shenanigans. But it's all
Oh. Well, in that case, then, how was y'all's weeks? What's been happening? What's the Tiaga? What's going on?
Let's start with Takia.
I'm doing okay. I'm just, making my way when I can. I'm keeping my head above water. Making a way when
How
I
you
can.
feeling in the season? I know this is a season. How you feeling?
I'm hanging in there. I am thinking a lot about what is going on in the world and in my family, just negotiating a lot of change. And just trying to allow myself the space to sort of experience it in real time with gratitude. It's hard, it's heavy. But I'm still able to look around and express gratitude. I think I share with both of you. At this time when I think about Brian's passing, it is hard, and I don't know that it will ever not be. But one thing that helps me negotiate that is to think about all of the ways in which I have God has given me people and relationships and family to help me through it. And I see both of you as expressions of that. So I'm grateful for all the ways that y'all have been holding me up for the last 10 years, and I'm gonna miss my brother for the rest of my life. And that's okay. I'm supposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And we love you. We love you.
Yeah.
We love you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
Thank
have a
you,
good
guys.
time as family here at the
Yes.
Mesa.
Yes.
I'm cool. It's end of years. That means these niggas are gonna be home, but also it's kind of nice that I won't have to wake up at 6:00 in the morning. But lots of end of year activities. Your girl was getting it yesterday.
I saw on
as you all are
Tristan's
hearing
stories.
this,
Yeah.
hitting her ones and her twos. Eating.
I was hitting my rain stick.
I was like, come on, Noah. Come
my girl
on.
was up there killing the rest of the kid. And I know I was like, it's not a competition.
Embarrassing a little white girl.
She was trying to keep up. I was like, look at her.
She was.
Bless her heart.
Look, and she did. She did her.
A little stone cold. She did.
Bless her bones, right? Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I've never seen an 11-year-old in a knee brace. I was like, work, stone cold, diva.
She was a diva. I had to make sure, as the mom with the best dancer, I had to be like, you did a fabulous job.
Encourage her.
Yeah.
But see, and that's the thing, but that's the problem why I don't have children, because now I got a lot of other,
you'd be
other
Abby Lee
people's
Miller.
children.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't be second. That's first last. Absolutely not.
Yes.
We are winners here. You better come in third, damn it.
That's right. That's right.
How are you, XD, outside of chaos?
Exactly.
I am better, and I'm going to tell you why.
Good.
Okay.
It is so, and it's so interesting that we have Dr. Winder on the show today, because years ago he told me, invest in your rest. Because it is so important. A restorative rest, it changes your heart, mind, and everything.
Longevity.
Yeah. And so I've been struggling on my mattress I've talked about it on the show for a while, but I made a big boy purchase
I know that's right.
this week.
Adulting. Real time.
Yes.
Yes. And I was like, when did this get so expensive?
Honey.
The whole time.
Honey.
And I bought myself a new mattress.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And with an adjustable frame,
Yes.
because I'm a person of a particular age.
That's right.
Yes.
I love that.
And when I tell you, it came yesterday, and I rested like the dew in the morning.
I know that's
dew.
right. You even count.
Okay.
That's right.
Yes. Simply rest. Okay, that's what I did.
I know that's right.
And when
You
I
slept
tell
like
you,
a white man.
It's time to relax.
Like,
yeah, like a whole white baby,
Privilege.
a whole white baby.
Okay.
white baby.
I
Worried about
haven't
nothing.
even had coffee today,
Exactly.
and I am on the zest for the vida. Yes, that's what happens when you get a good night's sleep. I can't wait to go to bed again.
You're like, who was I all that time?
It's
I don't
like,
know.
Yeah, I was a total bitch.
It's like stuff be happening now. You be like, oh, wow, we were poor. Woo. What a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
I woke up. It was like Luther's version of "Can You Feel a Brand New Day?" It
Yes.
was calm,
Exactly.
uplifting,
The best
warm.
version, actually.
The best version, because I don't believe in
no,
the
you heard it.
rapstress Diane,
Heart, Jesus, Lord.
DJ Green
Even though
Tea.
she was my please, you've always talked about her green.
Please.
I got other names, but I'll leave that. I keep saying I keep edging this conversation about Diana Ross, but I won't have it all the way.
The
yet.
articulates. Don't think I don't know from Beyond the Gates. It's the same story.
It is.
Come on.
What else happened this week? I went outside. It is funny because Terrell had his book thing yesterday, so I went. And I always laugh because our friend Darnell, who wrote a book, he talks about how, like, when gays get in places, it always smells like cereal dust. So, like,
I hate y'all.
but it was at Reparations Club, which is a wonderful Black, queer-owned, woman-owned book
Love that.
store. They have wonderful events
Yes.
in the West Adams neighborhood. Please go
Yeah, plug.
support
Yes.
them.
Link in the description box.
Yeah, but I laughed because I sat down and I was like, cereal.
Ah! Cereal does. It's
Now, is this across all the letters? Is this just?
Oh
for...
yeah, cereal dust. Yeah,
Okay,
it's everybody.
all right,
It's when a group of alts can let me not say all because
Yeah, don't
there
say
are
all.
some
'cause-
folk.
Yeah.
There are some people in the alphabet that aren't. They're a little tart. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Historically,
wow.
you know what I mean.
Oh
But
yeah, that was.
I'm not
Sorry,
saying
I'm
names.
gonna say this meme though. I saw this meme, and it was a non-binary Black person of the all party community. Yes, emo and such. You know what I'm saying? EDM type shit. You know, and you
a
know,
Black with a bayang.
Yeah. And they might have a natural in the back, but they flat iron in the bayang. Yeah,
and a dangly
exactly.
earring.
Wow.
Yeah, some
Oh,
sort
the
of
dangly
leather
earrings. I know
and a
exactly what you're
combat
talking
boot.
about.
And they're going to dance, you know what I'm saying, with some
Oh yeah,
glow sticks. But this
they all look like
person,
Leroy
it's
from
that
Fame.
so it's that trend.
Jesus.
It's that trend where they like have the Kendrick like and it's the fast way that goes, but I bleed different. So they were like being free and black and going to a queer party and it blah 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 blah. And then when it gets sad with the other part of the music, they were like, but they stink.
Listen, I've been to plenty of prides, plenty of just functions
Wow.
with, it just be rank. You know what I mean?
Some niggas be musty, and that's just what it is. Straight niggas be
And that's
musty
why I
too.
don't
That's
like the
very
fact
true.
that pride is in the summertime because it's high. Men stink.
Yeah, real bad.
They
Well,
smell
well.
bad.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
there's some of you divas are into that. But
I cannot relate.
girl,
No,
Y'all's
it is
nuts.
a thing.
cannot.
Y'all's nuts.
It's a
need
thing.
Washing.
Ball gravy,
You've got to
crazy.
live.
It's
Like you
something.
got to wash your nuts like we wash
It
under
is
our
fit-
titties.
Under the
There are
breast.
physiological differences. When I think about
Yeah.
like with Brian, Brian was a large man. When he was
Yeah,
a
he was a
teenager,
big
though,
nigga.
those hormones. And grandma used to tell him to
smell in
leave
general.
that.
Yeah.
He used to have to disrobe in the basement. Leave them
Petting
stinking
zoo.
clothes downstairs. Put them
Yeah.
directly in the washing machine.
Like,
And
how
don't
are
be
you
in
permeating
sports.
all the walls of every room
Because
in here?
Yeah.
quite literally, you cannot walk that must through my house. You must.
you
you must
can't,
not.
because
Jeez.
it
You
stains.
cannot. You cannot. You have
It
to
lingers.
put them in directly into the wash machine downstairs, and then you can come upstairs and wash your behind. But you may not parade that stinky funk all throughout my house. That's not. It's a non-negotiable.
No,
I
I
had
agree.
laughed the other day because I was on the internet talking about like when I first got told to put on deodorant.
We should all think
and
about
it's
that.
always like, and it's always like
I had
too
Chelsea
late.
waiting.
You know what I mean? Like when you get told it's been too late, it's been lingering for a while. It had to be like, damn,
No.
enough is enough,
It's the coming
right?
of age.
So
age.
I remember I was on my way home, and normally, I would go to Carl's Jr., right? Because that'd be my afternoon snack or whatever, because on the way home. And my grandmother was like, stop. She went over to P&W, which is Piggly Wiggly, and she got me Mitchum.
That's it.
And that's how I knew Mitchum. And, old black people think Mitchum and
Baby,
the brown
it's the brown Listerine of deodorant.
A deodorant, right? Like it's so good you can skip a day.
Yeah, no.
Don't. But yeah.
not. Yes.
And when I tell you, she was like, "Don't you dare miss a day."
Have you noticed that your sweet-smelling baby has suddenly turned into a funky-smelling teenager? A new study looks at why, and why is it?
You have a couple of babies that still probably smell pretty sweet.
I have 18, 11, and 10. My 18-year-old never, ever smells bad.
smelled.
The 11 and 10, I'm not sure what's going to happen in a couple
Exactly,
years.
because they're boys.
Yeah.
I had
I
Tussie
was like,
first.
"That's crazy."
I had Tussie, and then
I see that.
you know how I told you about that era with my parents. So then I got the crystal. We were trying, or maybe we tried the crystal first, the one that you wet it, and you rub it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And then it was like, oh, that don't work. And then
Yeah.
it was
That don't
Tussie.
work.
And then I think we jumped to not Secret. What was the other one?
I had Secret
Not
first.
Suave.
Maybe it was Mitchum actually. I
Sure.
think it was Mitchum I used. No, I never was a short.
My mom, my first was Secret. And then I remember when Degree came out, this was a thing.
Degree. That was it. Yeah.
When Degree came out, I remember wanting Degree and my mom saying something ridiculous like Degree was for boys. And I was like, girl, like,
No,
what? You sound
Because
crazy.
it was heavily
It was heavily
Was it?
marketed to, yeah.
It
and
had a
so-
baby powder Degree.
But that was later. They came out with those sort of flavors a little later. But I remember like
Okay.
the original Degree before there was any sort of kind of
Okay.
different fragrance
Variation.
options. Yes, and I remember it coming out. My mom was like, you can get that for your brother, but you need to get Secret.
We asked some of the hottest guys in town to trade their deodorant for new Degree deodorant.
Body heat activating. Let's give it a shot.
As your body heat rises, only Degree releases extra protection against odor.
When I heat up, deodorant's gonna kick in. Works far better than Speed Stick. Kicked in for me.
Because I was like, girl, what? And then I said, my logic was, if it's strong enough for a man, then it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter.
Hello. That's why I wear secret today.
Period.
Okay.
I don't
Listen,
like
branding and commercials get me.
It's
Listen,
true.
this is why they need to go back to proper
Commercials.
advertising and jingles.
They
if
do.
they want me to buy stuff
And theme
in this
songs.
horrid economy.
While we're talking about theme songs for your television programs as well, because I'm tired of jumping right in.
Because I'm tired of just
exactly.
And you know that's it. Like that's lazy.
It is lazy. I mean, it gives you more show. I'll say that, but there was something very
Everything
nostalgic
is all streaming.
about
They don't have to do nothing else. They can add the extra 2 minutes.
They don't. I mean, they can just put it in post. Like it's literally just put it in at the start.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
They're using AI to ruin everything else. Use it, be effective. Add the intro in the beginning.
It's something.
Wait, what kind of deodorant do you use now, Kia?
I still use Degree.
You still use Degree, and XD, you use Secret still.
I don't use Mitchum because it causes like nodules. Like you know how it is with it.
It's
strong. It's too much. Yeah.
I think I wear old lady deodorant. I think.
What?
Well, I wear 2 deodorants, right? Because
okay.
First of all, I got off the natural train. So sorry to disappoint girls.
I hope the girls are not disappointed.
I use one. I use an Arm & Hammer lavender rosemary situation.
You need a little baking powder.
The essential one?
Yeah, I use that. It's summertime, so I don't have time to be playing around. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those girls that's like, I don't sweat, I don't stink very much. I'm like, no, nigga.
I think
if I go to sleep and don't put on deodorant, nigga, I might be musty.
I don't want to play around. I've never wanted to play those games.
So as a college student, y'all know I was born 80. I used to go into Neiman Marcus to go get my deodorant.
Oh, very classy. Wealthy.
Oh, you are very old.
Wealthy.
Donna Karen Mist.
Cashmere Mist.
So then I got off of it for a long time.
What did you wear? White diamonds too? What the hell?
Yeah.
Cashmere Mist.
I have boundaries. Thank you very much.
She's a red door cow.
You are.
But I went back to my Donna Karen Cashmere Mist, and it's not leading me wrong.
Elizabeth Arden, Red Door, darling.
I call it like I see it, down the middle.
You should. I would felt especially old last night because I went to shout out to Mandy and Wheezy. I went to the Horrible Decisions one night only.
Okay, cool.
Live show at Sony Music Hall. As you all listen to this, I believe this was last week. I went with Antoinette and Crystal Jean.
Very nice.
And Jasmina. And would you all like to see what your Crystal Jean looked like at the show? So it was a fabulous show. Wonderful production.
Awesome.
Very sex positive. Okay. It was great for the beginning of Pride.
Let's put on a good time.
Okay. We had a burlesque man. I've never had male burlesque before.
Okay.
He had a nasty heel and got down to a corset. It was fabulous. Nice. And the girls did a great job, and it was entertaining. And your sister also was having the time of her life.
I'm not surprised at all. Nothing about that
for the listeners
is surprising to me. That is very much on brand.
In a mask.
That is very much on brand. That's on brand. On brand.
No, but it was a good time. But I was out on a Tuesday.
Good for you.
There was candle wax and paddles. And
all right.
You thought you was grown.
I don't know who the fuck I thought I was, actually. But
you was grown or young. One of the
it was grown.
I mean, a school night. It's given. It's given.
We have a fantastic kitchen table /
I'm excited about it
after the break conversation.
Yeah.
So should we get to it?
I think we should.
Yeah. Hit it, Claude.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
While I'm at it, I'll also cut my short and long rail pieces, trying my best to avoid the sapwood. I mean, I like sapwood on occasion, but I'm just not looking for a permanent relationship with it on this piece.
Welcome back. Welcome, Blacks. I'm very excited at the kitchen table because we have expanded the kitchen table. You remember how your grandma used to have that flap where you can make the kitchen table
Oh my
longer?
God, I forgot about the flap.
We have made the kitchen table. The little, we've given the kitchen table a little bit more length, and we are joined by some very special guests. Y'all know, friend to the show, our brother XD is here, but we're also very excited to welcome a special guest whom I will introduce right now.
Yes.
I will read his bio. Terrell J.A. Winder received his PhD in sociology from UCLA, the University of California, Los Angeles, in 2017. He is an urban ethnographer whose research areas include race and ethnicity, sexuality and sexual health, qualitative and quantitative research methods, and education. His current research examines stigma response processes among stigmatized populations negotiating more than one stigma simultaneously. His research has been published in Qualitative Sociology, AIDS Patient Care and STDs, the Journal of Racial and Ethnic Health Disparities, and the Journal of Medical Internet Research. His work is also on mobile applications as a health intervention, and he's been covered in the LA Times. He's here to talk about his latest book, which is out today. It is a book called Shameless, The Making of Black Gay Identities in LA. It's a multi-method examination of anti-gay stigma response among young Black gay men in Los Angeles. Everybody welcome Dr. Winder?
Dr. Winder.
Dr. Winder to the kitchen table. Hey, Dr. Winder, and welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Yes. So this is a really interesting book and a timely one, being that it is Pride.
Yeah.
But we're coming at an intersection of life where we're being attacked by a whole bunch of shit, right?
Correct.
So talk to us a little bit about this book. We have questions, but you introduce and let us know about your baby.
Yeah, I'm happy to do so. Shameless was a long working process. I started data collection for the project probably in 2012 in Los Angeles, and spent over 4 years kind of going and collecting data with a group of guys in LA and learning just how they were navigating what it meant to be Black and gay in Los Angeles. And I kind of start off in the book saying, I'm from Baltimore, so my orientation to what it means to be growing up as a Black person is different than what was happening, I think, in LA. I think people sometimes think of LA as very Black because we have these Black movies
And pockets.
Exactly. It's set in LA, but it's actually been, the population of Black people has been declining over time. And so I was very interested in how are you all learning what it means to be Black? What does it mean to be gay in a city, the second largest city in our country? And that's very geographically different. And so the book is an opportunity for me to kind of tell their stories in connection with my own, but also thinking about how do we respond back and reject some of those stigmas and negative experiences in everyday life.
Dope.
Tivana. So even you talk about in the beginning about the geographic, I don't want to say disparities, but how the geographic layout of LA and how that is indicative of how people establish community. Can you talk about that in the sense of comparing it to Baltimore or New York City or anything in places where you've lived,
Yeah, I think one thing that's true about LA, right, is public transportation is not winning any awards. And
not even that Ride the D campaign. They got influencers talking about Ride the D.
It's not that, right? But that's part of it, right? That, LA, to me, when I got here, I was like, why does it take an hour and a half to go 10 miles? I can see where I need to be, but I'm stuck on the highway. And so, understanding how people are navigating the physical space, I think helps to understand how people are setting up their identities and who they are, right? Who you encounter, who you don't encounter are shaping how you see yourself. And so for me, it was interesting coming from Baltimore and New York City where, it doesn't take an hour and a half to go 10 miles, or, you know, you can hop on the train and go where you need to go. And, you know, seeing that play out in LA was very interesting to me. So I think, you know, at the core of it, what I'm saying is like geography matters. So like it's important for us to consider like where people are growing up, and the context of the demographics of that place really matter for how we think about what is blackness, how does blackness show up, and what is queerness, what is gayness, how does that show up in space. And so that's kind of what I emphasize there, and I highlight kind of, you know, people are traveling an hour, 2 hours, you know, wherever to get somewhere, to meet people, to hang out with community. And I think it's important to, you know, to highlight that even though we have so many resources in LA, it's not equally dispersed across the city in location.
I have a question for you, actually. Pre-book, because in order for you to write this, this was part of research and also just adaptation to a new space. I have a good friend out in LA. Her name is Nia, and she put together these supper clubs specifically for lesbian and femmes in LA, black lesbian and femmes
Yeah.
in LA, because they feel like they have not had any spaces, and those spaces have predominantly been for black gay men. I mean, for gay men, and specifically for white gay men, which well, I'm sure we're going to get to that. How did you go about, with all of these challenges that you just spoke about? How did you go about really finding your community out there?
Yeah, no, that's a great question and a great point. I think when you talk about the supper club and creating a space for lesbians, and particularly I think for women, we don't have as many organizations that target women. We don't have as many public spaces for women to do that, especially for Black lesbian women. So one of my early mentors kind of did a similar thing. She used to host these parties. I'm gonna mess it up. I think it was called Chocolate and Wine, and she and her wife used to. That's how she would recruit people for her work. And her book is Invisible Families, about Black lesbian mothers and Black lesbian motherhood. And so I think how gender plays a role in who can access what spaces is important. And so in my case, because I was looking at men, and mostly cis men, there are a lot of organizations and spaces targeting them, namely for HIV and STI prevention care and treatment. And so, you know, a lot of the organizational pieces of the work happen because of HIV. It was important for me to say that the book is not about HIV. And I've made that comment a lot, that when I said I was working on a project about Black men, people would often say, "Oh, so you're studying HIV?" And I have to say, well, no, you know, and I resisted that for a long time. But I think it's important to acknowledge what are the kind of spillover effects from this kind of funding, you know, system that created these organizations, where people are getting money to find people who are positive, right? And so because Black gay men and Black queer men in particular have been such a target, both impacted by the epidemic, but also being targeted now to be found through organizations, it made it some ways easier to locate physical spaces. There's also the gendered aspect, which is like most places are catering to men. Even gay clubs, gay bars often are catering to men. And so it wasn't as hard to locate spaces physically where they would be. But I think that's a key point when people ask me, like, why are there no, you know, why didn't I also include like queer women or that? And they really weren't there in the space as much, because
Also, you're not a queer woman. Like,
I'm not.
So you,
But if they were there, you know, I mean, I feel like it's, you know, if they're in this physical space, I would include them, right? But I think it's important to highlight, like, there are not as many resources that are targeting them. I think, you know, many of the women colleagues of mine I know who are fighting to say, no, Black women need to learn about PrEP. Black women need to know about PEP. They need to know about these things. That's coming much later. They're always being pushed as an afterthought. And I think it's important to highlight, like, part of the reason why I was able to do this is because there's so much of an emphasis on men and patriarchy. But that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
I even as a personal note, I worked on a movie, and a part of the director's push, and a part of like financial stuff was attached to the Black AIDS Institute. And it was always been this adage of like, there's always money in AIDS. And I always think that it's so interesting how that money is funneled into other usage, to create like third spaces that we all need, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But, I just find it interesting how everything is just relegated to this epidemic and not anything else that we're, have stuff going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, to me, the book is really, I think it's really cool. I think it's a different sort of spin because I know there are lots of literature and sort of discourse around identity and how identity is shaped by communal spaces, right? And what role that plays in like our socialization and how we come to know identity. What I think is really interesting about Shameless is that you talk about this but like through the lens of stigmatization. And was wondering if, before we sort of get into some of the deeper or more nuanced questions around some of your choices to do that, could you sort of just explain like stigmatization, like 101, like for anyone who's coming in and wanted to understand, we know that negative stigmas exist, but like, I think your book kind of lays out what are the things that inform them and sustain them, and how we come to respond and interact with them. Just talk to us a little bit about that, because I feel like that's sort of a core premise in the work.
No, it's a great question. Let's see if I do it justice. But I'll say, one of the things that was important for me in the book was I think we use a lot of these terms interchangeably. So like stigma, stereotype, prejudice, discrimination, racism, even.
Yep.
And I, in the book, go all the way back to, I think one of the best examples of stigmatization is probably the Scarlet Letter, right? The Hawthorne text, where it's like, okay, here's someone who committed adultery, we put in this big letter on her. It's the mark, right? So what are these identities, these behaviors, these things that we do that leave us with a mark socially? And then, differentiating that from discrimination is like when you're treated differently because of that mark, right? So what does it mean to walk through life with this particular mark? And a lot of work, I think, focused on how do people navigate one stigma, right? But what does it mean to live at the intersection of multiple stigmas and to be dealing with kind of intersectional stigmas? So the example I gave about HIV is, I think, a good one, where it's like, there are stereotypes about what it means to be Black. There are stigmas associated with that. There are stereotypes and stigmas associated with what it means to be gay or queer. But the idea that everything that's going on in Black gay or Black queer men's lives is HIV related, or like, that's the primary focal point, I think is a unique kind of intersectional example of how that's the label, right? The moment where I say, I'm studying Black gay men, they automatically think that that's what it's about. Right. And I get to say, well, no, that's not the only thing that they're talking, that's happening in people. They're human, right? So it's allowing to, kind of prep full embodiments of who people are. And so to me, stigma is one of those kind of cagey terms that I think people hear it all the time, but can't really name what it is. But to me, I define it in the book as like the actual mark of what it is to have, to hold an identity that is looked down upon in society.
Yeah. Like the cost of it, like what it costs you socially.
And also draw on the Du Bois, like, W.E.B. Du Bois talks about like the burden of second sight, right? Like, what does it mean to go through life with the burden of having to see yourself through the eyes of other people all the time?
Yeah, that's exhausting. It's a double identity is what it is essentially, because you're existing and then you're like, let me see how other people perceive me, and you've got to carry that as well. That's so much responsibility, which, speaking of responsibility on people that they don't deserve, I want you to go into the coming out, what you were talking about with coming out, and how coming out is for other people as we're talking about stigmas.
Yeah. A lot of the research, I think, in literature about how people navigate stigma is trying to make other people comfortable. And I think coming out is often framed as this like revelatory moment where you finally, accept yourself, but I actually think there's a step before that. And that's where I kind of position unspoiling. Because I think people sometimes come out and they don't like themselves or they're outed and people know, and they still haven't made, you know, the decision to come to terms with that identity themselves. Right. And coming out, I think, kind of prioritizes other people. And it's like, I'm going to share this with you. I want you to know. And then people are upset you didn't tell them and all this other kind of stuff. You know, so for me, it was important to say, no, what I'm talking about in this book is not coming out. It's about how do I reformulate a relationship with the identities I've been told all my life are bad, right? And where you're getting messages about it being bad differ along the line of race, class, gender, where you are in the world, right? And so it was important for me to highlight that, but I think differentiating it from coming out, because sometimes people say, well, you know, we had all these campaigns, like it gets better, you know, all this other, and it's like, well, for some people it doesn't. Like, let's just be real about it. Like, but you still need to focus on how you feel about you, and that to me is the priority. You know, like how do I focus on feeling good about me?
Which is everybody, because because niggas are not okay with themselves, and then they spill their shit all over the place.
Other people,
and expect others to deal with it.
It's also an unfair burden, I feel like, on the community, because it's like, why do I have to come tell you what my preference is? Again, as a heterosexual, I never have to go and make an announcement about who I'm interested in or why I'm interested in them. You know what I mean? It's not a declaration. And so I find that I've always found it actually to be a bit of a weird concept, but I do understand where it comes from, because there's so much homophobia rooted in our community as well. So,
and it's a continual thing. You know, I think historically we had thought about, people talked about coming out as like, when did you come out? Like, people ask that question, when did you come out? You're coming out all the time. Like, every time you meet a new person, you have to come out. So it's like a continual thing throughout life. You know, I always joke about when the first time I came to California and there was some women I was hanging around, and I was very confused because I was like, do they know I'm gay? Like, what's going on here? Like, I don't, I was like, oh, it didn't translate from New York to California. Like, confusing, but it's like, oh, I have to come out again. Like, you know, like constantly every time you meet new people, because you don't know how they are encountering you or like what they see in you at sometimes. And we take that for granted. If you know, I think, I don't know, maybe I'm, you know, an example of a gay person who's like, you know, I have no idea how people interpret what they think I do until they say it.
That's such an interesting thought. I've never, I guess I come from a place of privilege where I've lived my outness for the last 20 years on the internet. So people are already coming with the notion of who I am and all that stuff. But I've never really had the, you know, have to reintroduce myself or have to come out again. I was like, I haven't had to come out since I left home, whatever coming out means, you know what I mean? So I think, I've never thought about this reintroduction, like going on, you know, again and again and again when whatever new person that you meet.
I think about like the barbershop, right? Like, you know, there's a classic example where like gay people talk about the barbershop. And you know, when I first moved to LA, I was going to a barbershop. And one day the barber at the time asked me something like what I did, and I mentioned it. And then from then on, once he knew, he was like, okay, every time I came in, he had a list of gay questions. He was like, okay, like, you here, I've been waiting to ask this.
Niggas are so irritating.
He was like, the LGBT community, am I saying that right? I'm like, so I appreciated his questions, but it became this thing where it was like, oh, what the first few months you had no idea. You just had no idea who I was, what I was doing. But then I had to come out, and now I'm the authority on the gay stuff. So he gets to stack his questions every few weeks. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think, XD, though, I think what you're saying is an example of something that, to me, came through in the book, like the process of unspoiling. Like I think when you talk about, like, you know, ultimately, I guess you could argue that the way that you have presented yourself and your identity online is in largely a lot of way a rejection of the stigmatization that comes along with it. So I think is super dope about Shameless is that it gives us some examples for like what the work of that unspoiling looks like in practice, and what are the spaces and places and practices of actually doing that. I'm sorry, I thought you was going to say something, XD.
Well, yeah, I wanted to talk about you interviewed a lot of people.
Mhm.
A lot of people. And through this, you discovered, how people identify and stuff. But what I found interesting was yes, I was expecting the gay shit, but I didn't expect the racial identity portion. When with the person who was like, it was almost like, but I'm, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not black, I'm that kind of thing with the Samoan person. Can you talk about that and this idea of when it comes to identities and race comes to play? How does race come into play, and especially in your research?
Yeah, no, definitely. Race is central to it. I think one of the key pieces is like we grow up often, if you're raised in a black family, hearing a lot of messages about blackness that are more evenly tempered than you hear about sexuality. So you grow up maybe learning from your parents that being black comes with costs or social costs, or how to prepare yourself for encountering the police or being better. But they also have messages like black is beautiful, you're beautiful. Like they often are pouring those things into you around race, not around sexuality. And for many people who I interviewed, race to them was immutable, right? Even though we often talk about it as a social creation, it's tied to ancestry, it's tied to history, to who they know. And so, they felt like I'm black and that's what I know. Whereas sexuality felt more like like that has changed for them, right? Because in their minds, they're like, well, I forced myself to live it straight for some time, or I didn't, so they're like, maybe it'll change. It seems changeable to them in a way that race doesn't. I think in particular, the examples you gave are folks who are multiracial, right? And they talk about feeling like even within their families, they were getting negative, like messages about what it meant to be black, right? And I think it's a very conscious choice for them to participate in these black spaces where I'm doing my work, right? And so that's partially why, it's important to me to name on the cover, like this is about black gay identities, to talk about their usage of the term. That even if they said something like I'm biracial or I'm multiracial, they were intentionally trying to put themselves in black space, right? Or black communities. They're like, I'm a member of the black community, and they understood that they were read in that way. And so I think race is at the forefront of that. And our understanding of what is sexuality is shaped by race and what is normal or considered normal for what race is and what isn't. And so they grew up with those messages.
Yeah, because you often talk, there's another part where you discuss somebody who was supposed to go away to college. And you talk about that.
Yes.
I don't want to give the book away, but
Yes, no. So one of the examples is a young boy who was graduating from high school and wanted to go away to college, and his mother basically was like, I'm not letting you go to college so you can go be gay. And I was
that's
like,
gonna stop you.
right, I was like,
right
what did I
here.
say? Now he's just gay in your house, right? So, it doesn't do anything. But I think it's important for us to acknowledge these things where it's like people are changing and shifting the trajectory of people's lives based on these identities and what people find acceptable and don't. And one of the other examples that I talk about in the book is a young boy, I believe I call him Brandon in the book, who, so much of the literature suggests that younger generations are more accepting and more welcoming around sexuality, and that, actual gay people aren't being called fags in schools, or like being, people are less homophobic in some way. And he's a great example because it's like, no, they still doing that. Like they still terrorizing the gay boys. And he's an example where he talks about one of the reasons he didn't go off to college is because he was afraid that it would be worse. Like that they were going to, now there are no, you even more free to make fun of me or to, treat me poorly. And so these encounters really do shift and move people's, life trajectories.
which is so interesting because oftentimes the Black gay escape is through education, going to school. That was mine. You know, I didn't want to come out. You and I have a similar coming out experience where we were asked by our parents, and it was about a week or two before we both had to go to school. So it
Mine
didn't
was the
fucking
night
matter.
before.
Mine was 2 weeks before. I was like, bye,
okay.
diva.
You gay? I was like, I'm going to New York City. I'm gay now.
Yikes.
Sorry.
Wow, I don't think I ever knew that. That is so
No.
fascinating. Black moms. Woo! I mean, what a
I
time.
know. Piece of work,
Yeah,
honey.
my mom,
Piece of work.
my mama asked me, was like, the Lord brought it upon me to ask you.
Okay.
The Lord brought it upon me.
Okay, they love
Well, mama
to say
never
Lord
the
revealed
Lord
it.
into it. She wanted to know for herself.
Did she ever?
The Lord
This
told
is this might be a problematic question. I don't know. Y'all can tell
it's
me if
fine.
it is. What tipped her off to even ask this in the first place? Like, you know what I'm saying? What
Good question.
did she give you a?
Well, she did. For me, she did. She had like a dossier of things.
Okay,
And,
you
you
have
know,
been
my mother
collecting some
speaks in a.
evidence.
Yeah, she
Okay.
did. Because, you know, I was a young hoe in 2003. So
Yeah,
I
you
was
was.
like, that's when Metro PCS had came
Go
out.
ahead.
So I was like, I don't need your singular nonsense and tracking me. I'm going to talk to the trade
Period.
on my hotline, okay? So she was like, you know, I hear you on the phone late at night, you know, and I don't know who you're talking to. And you be on your computer. I'm like, girl, I am listening to Destiny's Child. Like, I don't know what you want me to do.
I love
It's
it.
like Tetris.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
that's what she asked me. And I was like, yeah,
Interesting.
girl. Then she sat
Okay.
down and she immediately went to AIDS. Because
Oh.
that's usually
Yeah.
where it goes. It
Wow.
goes to sickness. That had nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
And then for her, it was interesting because then after that, she was like, well, I don't know how to provide you with a toolkit to prepare you for this. And later on,
Okay.
we talked about this, and she was like, you know, as a single mom, I did my best to prepare you. I know last night you talked about, you know, breaking or being raised into or single mothers not being considered being able to raise a man,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. My mother has always been like, I've raised you to be a good person, not to be a good man or anything. So I was like, well, that's a plus, but B, you know, it once she got over the idea of this envision of her son that she had thought or whatever the fuck, she got over it real quick and then was like, okay, well, how can I be supportive?
Yeah.
Good.
You know, so it took a little while, but you know what I mean? It wasn't immediate, but you know, I know that again, privileged place, and I understand that's not the case for everybody, especially for a lot of people in this book. But
Yeah.
you know,
And
That's
what about
what
you, Terrell?
I feel like it
sorry,
was probably
sis.
a bunch of things
Okay.
over time. The same things, like you on the computer, you on the phone, you doing this. Who is that? One example, though, sticks out in my mind is a restaurant we were at when I was a teenager. Probably like Bennigan's or something.
Come
I
on,
don't know if I can
Bennigan.
say it. I don't think
All
it exists
right.
anymore, right? But whatever.
Let me
But
come and get a Monte Cristo.
you know,
Give me a bowl of chili from Bennigan.
it's true. You know, we in the restaurant, and it's like clearly this is a gay waiter or something. And we're, you know, I'm there with my whole family, and you know, he's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, whatever. And then my mother is like,
Sorry.
to my dad, like, why is he looking at my son like this? Like, whatever. And I'm like, because you know you're embarrassed, and you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's one of those moments where it was like, okay, there's just like an amalgamation of like different things happening.
Okay.
And so I feel like she just was like, I'm going to ask because I'm not going to wait for you to tell me.
Okay.
You're going to tell me today
Okay.
before you go to college.
Okay.
Okay. So I think, you know, I appreciate y'all sharing that.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, one thing that I thought was cool reading through the book was I felt like I was wondering, I should say, I feel like you're very explicit around like racial identity, sexual identity, but I think like embedded within like gay as a sexual identity is this idea of gender, manhood, masculinity, and I know that comes out in some of the stories, and some of like, you know, as you're talking about the people that you were working with specifically, but curious as to whether that was like a choice? Like, were you intentional around like maintaining the focus on like racial and sexual identity versus like explicitly exploring like concepts of masculinity and manhood as another layer here?
That's such a great question, and I struggled with how to address it very much. So one of the questions I asked people in the interview was like, what are some of the positive things about being a man? Or whatever gender term they use.
That's a loaded ass
Okay.
question.
Yes, but they all had
I
answers.
would love to hear it.
But the answers were always things that they didn't have to go through because they're not women. So it wasn't like there was anything inherently good about being a man. It was like
privilege.
I get paid more than women do, or I don't have to have a period. Or like, you know, like those. And so
real mannish ass shit. Really.
I was about to say, you know, owning up to the male privilege. So it's big. That's not something that happens a lot.
It is. But I don't even know if they even framed it as like this is male privilege. You know what I mean? It was like one of those things where like, no, it was more like, well, thank God I don't have to go through that. And, you know, I could have done more and probably should have done more with gender, like explicitly in the work.
No. You just gave yourself a pathway to it.
It would have been different.
Yeah. I'm just saying,
but
like,
I think it is another
like if you wanted to do another, you know, like a second version or how you build upon the work and implication, I think that would be dope. Because I don't think it was I'm not qualifying the choice. I think, you know, what you've done.
But I agree with you.
Yeah,
no,
that's
the question I ask myself too. So if the critique is also from within, right? Where this question of like, how do I deal with, you know, not framing the conversation about manhood as explicitly as I could have, I think. And it was always challenging because I think it does come out in the narratives and in the stories that they tell about what it means to be a man, or how they learn. But yeah, it was a hard question. It was a deep question for them. And I still struggle with, okay, how best do you present that the thing that men are excited about being men is rooted in like misogyny or something, like, you know, like this male privilege thing. And so I don't delve into that as much. And partially also one of the reasons why I don't delve into that is that race and sexuality presented as such clearly salient things that, you know, there's been a much larger discourse around, you know, who gets to be black, who doesn't get to be black. And I feel like that's changing, right? Over like this new generation are like, you got 4 black grandmothers, you know, and like who's there and who can't be. And so it was important for me to address the racial piece. And I think I try to point out that to me, the gendered piece is in the privilege, like when we first started about this, which is like that there are even spaces where they can go. And that for women, those places don't exist in the same way.
And I mean, I'm only, you know, like you said, you started your data collection in 2012. And so, you know, the thing about research is that it's like contextually specific, right? So I'm just thinking about it now through the lens of, you know, this age where we're in the manosphere. And what, you know, what that lens would add to this conversation. So that's why I asked. But I think it's really fascinating because I'm learning a lot about even the work that we've done before sits around just thinking about intersectionality and all the ways that like race and our gender identity, also class identity, also sort of like, you know, all of these things, you know, it was fascinating to think about it through this lens and also adding the layer of what it means for stigmas and how we collectively, individually and collectively position ourselves to reject them. I just feel like, you know, there's a lot of good work. And so would be curious to know, like, now that this is out and into the world, are you already thinking? Because, you know, the way, you know, how, you know, academic, you know, how our minds work, you know, they don't let us finish one thing before they be asking.
Are you going to have another baby? Are they going to be close in age?
It, right? Are you doing another one? Yeah. So I definitely have a bunch of other projects, but I think the one that probably comes to mind right now that's related to this is, you know, in the book, I talk a lot about religion as well, because as a source of some of those stigmas and how those go. And so because people say, well, why do people keep going to these churches and places if they're having these negative experiences. And
Oh.
so highlighting, but their spirituality and having a spiritual practice really does matter, and community
Yeah.
matters. And so for many people, it's hard to leave. But I started to question, like, what about the people who do leave and say, I'm not Christian anymore, or I don't know if I want to do that in that way. And so I have a project on, you know, black spirituality that's rooted in things like hoodoo, voodoo, woodworking, conjure, and then African traditional or diasporic faiths like Ifa, Isheshe, those things. And so we interviewed like 109 Black folks across the U.S. who are practicing different African diasporic faiths in some way. And that will most likely be the next book. And I will say that one thing is the majority of them in that project identify as women, cis women, or agender, in some way non-binary. And it's been an interesting counter to this project, or like a build off, like an offshoot, because sexuality also becomes like a clear reason why that's happening. And that gender is definitely a big key reason why, women are like, I cannot go to this church.
Yeah.
I got to find something else. And so it's race, gender, and sexuality come together very clearly in that to say, no, I have to find a practice that fits better with me. And, I have a paper from this project that just came out, and the quote is, a person's God should look like them. And that was one of the things that one of the respondents said in the interview. She said, I'm very clear on that fact, like a person's God should look like them. And that also means including women. And in many of the religions we're brought up in, it doesn't.
Yeah, there's a there there. There's a there there. I think there's a lot of spaces, and I think millennials are in such a space, right? And there's a lot of and reckoning, and sort of like recalibration. Growing up as a church baby, there's ways in which I am interrogating and problematizing, some of the things that were very normal and core to my own sort of upbringing and identity development. But, experiencing the dissonance of sort of what you were taught and what you were raised in and what your experience is, and thinking about that through the lens of like power and patriarchy and all the things. And so that's dope. I think, just naming that, this is work that should continue on, because there's a lot for us to talk about as it relates to sort of identities and stigmas and all the things.
And they're shifting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Every single day, as you were just speaking, I was thinking about just running my Rolodex in my head of many folks I know who, I guess for lack of a better, have left the church to explore other faiths, right? And how demonized that also is as well. You know what I mean? They're not respected as faiths. And so that's a very interesting intersection when you add queerness mixed in with that as well. I'm very excited for that upcoming project. Thanks. But I won't continue to ask you about it because that's annoying.
It exists. Don't worry. It's happening. That'll be the next one.
Okay.
Yeah. And even with the add-on with Kia saying, I would love for you to expand. I know this is just a wish list, but class, and because in the book, as I used to work for a gay nonprofit, and I'm gonna tell you, the rich gays don't show up there unless they work there or they're on the board, right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk. I want this disparity between, for crass terminology, rich gays and poor gays, right?
Rich gay, poor gay. That's a book.
Meet in the middle.
Yeah.
And I often think about that in the terms of the dating pool, because oftentimes people complain about like, oh, it's sour, it's a cesspool of whoop-de whoop-de hoop-de hoop-de hoo. But that's because you're not crossing the 10, right? Or you're not going to the Bronx, or you not, going to the south side of Chicago. You know what I mean? Like there class disparities impact so much other stuff in our community, and also why I think all gays hate each other. But that's another sociological.
Oh no!
Oh Lord!
When you were saying that, it made me think of like, when you talk about dating and crossing, I'm thinking of, what was it, Millionaire Matchmaker with like Hetty Stanger, and she's like,
Child.
go
Oh,
go to the bar across from the hospital. I'm like, that's what y'all need to do. You can't go down to the local bar to find, if you mix it, you got to go by the law firms downtown to find you a partner.
child.
You also find you a man who likes to pee on you immediately on the first night, because
Not
them
the
niggas are
fetishes.
weird.
But
Yeah.
in all seriousness, I
Yes.
want to talk about the fact that you took very lofty work and made it palatable for folks to read.
I tried.
You know what I mean? Meaning like, yeah, you made this is some academic shit,
That's
my
what we
friend.
Yeah.
But you
supposed to
made
be
this.
doing, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
That's
you
what we
made
supposed to
this
be doing.
exactly.
I tried.
Yeah.
You made this for regular degler folks
Mhm.
Yeah.
to get the shit that they need. You know what I mean? And I thank you for that.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
But
No.
I'm sure that was intentional.
It was. I think, for me, it's always important to me to try to write things in a way that the people who are part of the project can see themselves in it and also understand what I'm saying, right? And so the ideas in the book I presented to the people in my project. They read different versions of it at different points in time. They knew what I was talking about, and so I always felt like I didn't want to come out with something that they would say, "No, that doesn't sound like me," or "That doesn't sound like what my experience was," or "No, I don't agree with that part of it." And I think there's space to disagree about my interpretation of things, but I also wanted them to be able to see themselves. And so, like
Mhm.
some of the guys who I interviewed, like were texting me earlier today, like, "I saw this on that page. I think that's me," or whatever. Like identifying quotes that they think are them.
Yeah.
And I love that. And sometimes they're right and sometimes they're wrong. And I love
I
that
love
they
that.
can be wrong about
Yeah.
it, because I think it just highlights that, like, yeah, your experience was not just you. You're not the only one who
Exactly.
was
Yeah.
told that or who felt
Exactly.
that way.
Exactly. Being that you worked on this, you started this project 14 years ago.
Hmm.
First of all, was this what came to full fruition? Was this at your original plan and thought process, or how? Like, what was the evolution of that? Because you're not the same person you were 14 years ago.
No, which is why it's so hard, to think about the book where I'm like, yeah, and I talk about this, and I'm like, did I take that out of there? Like, all the time, because it's been a work in progress. When I started out, I really thought the project was going to be about a younger population, because the organization I was focused on advertised themselves that way, as that they
And
were
nigga, you
serving
was younger. You was younger
14,
14 years ago.
18. Yes, I was. I was like 21. Like,
Okay, exactly.
and so I'm like, okay, they're gonna be like 14 to 20 kind of. And then I got there and it was more like 18 to 30. And I was like smack in the middle of the age range. And I started off graduate school thinking about, I was trained as an elementary educator. And so I was interested in, what do people do in out of school time? And so I thought this was like an after school, out of school time place, because of the way they were talking about the population. And then when I got there, I was like, no, they're all graduated. Like they're all basically adults. And so it shifted. And it was important to me to kind of just follow the direction of what was happening. And so that's kind of how across the book I end up starting in the organizational space, and then turning to media, and then turning to these family configurations, because I was following what seemed to be important to them as it was going and progressing. I think in some ways, there's more of me in the book than would have been in the book if I had written it exactly a while ago. Like I got pressed on that a lot, and I try to make it clear. It's like, I'm telling other people's story and my experience of encountering them. This is not my story. I didn't grow up. There was no organization like Uplift LA in the book that I talk about in Baltimore. Like I wasn't going to community space with other Black, gay, and queer folks as a teen.
Right.
That wasn't what was happening.
Right.
And so it's not my story, but I use how I grew up as a kind of a lens to interrogate what they were going through.
So you do pivot, like you said, to media and stuff like that through Noah's Ark. I know that's a staple in here, and I know there's not a lot of Black gay media, right? We have Pose and Tangerine and a couple of other things, but you talk about Noah's Ark being like a possibility model. I know you have a different terminology for it, but can you expound on that? I think it's important because a lot of times, for whatever gender expression or sexuality orientation you identify as, a lot of times the first time you encounter something is through television. Like everybody's first drag queen is RuPaul, right? She came on the scene in 1990. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. No, that's true. It's very true. Media does play that role. Like I always joke and say, when I was a teenager, I remember Queer as Folk coming up. And I remember watching. Well, I remember watching Queer as Folk start, and I was like, "What is going on? They in this club and they in this dark room doing this sexual stuff in public." I said, if this is gay, I don't think I'm that." And so, when Noah's Ark came out, it was, a moment for me to go, "Wait a minute now, okay, now wait a minute, they."
Feeling a little more
just a group of
seen.
friends.
Okay, it's rollerblading and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, okay.
Now this I can get with.
Exactly. Okay. On point. That's exactly it. And so that's how I felt, right? And so I think media, and Noah's Ark in particular, is such a foundational frame of reference because it was the first scripted TV show on Logo. Logo, of course, being that first gay dedicated channel.
Yes.
And to have a show that's centered on the lives of Black gay men, a group of them, not just one, meant that it expanded our understandings of who are Black queer characters. And Black queer characters have always played a big role, I think, in film, but they're often one.
$40.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think of my favorite, like Wayman in A Low Down Dirty Shame, or these characters that are often caricatures, and
on film,
they're the only one.
Right,
in a show. And Noah's Ark gave an opportunity to say we don't have to put all of the stereotypes and challenges and issues on one body. Right? Now we can see a group of them. They're masculine. Some are feminine, more feminine. Some of them are navigating what it means to build a family, to not have a family. They're getting married on Noah's Ark before gay marriage is legalized. Right? So showing us possibility.
I will be your port in the storm. And your shield in the battle. And when the time comes for us to go to the long home of the ancestors, I will dance with you there.
And the show had been critiqued a lot for being maybe too fantastical, not dealing with the real challenge, the intersectional issues that were happening.
Progressive.
But I argue in the book that's, well, I call it dream capacity building in the book, because I say it's important for you to be able to envision a life without the burden of those stigmas. And what is a gay wedding? What do I want a gay wedding to be? That gave us a model of it. Now it was very based on what we understand as traditional weddings in some way. But if you've never seen one, how do you know? Or if you don't have an example of what that life could be like, how do you expand your mind around that? And so I thought it was important to highlight that through the critique of the show, even though it was unrealistic in some ways, it really did shape people's growing up and their life experiences. One of the boys in the book says, I moved to LA because of Noah's Ark. That's what he saw, and he believed it. It wasn't true, but it changed his life trajectory.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
It happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a young gay watching Noah's Ark. This is great. And then fast forward, the director and I ended up working together. But it was important. We always talk about how representation matters, right? And I think this is one of those things. Logo was a white network. In general, I'll take the gay out of it. Is you having the first Black show on this white progressive network. Who is fighting against all odds through advertising and shit like that, displaying this world that is a possibility that a lot of people in the early 00s didn't think that we can expand our minds to even get to that point. We're still living in the struggle.
Yeah, and to that point, and your point, Terrell, as well, where you said people felt like the show was too fantasticalized. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Or fantasy.
Sensationalized, right. white hoes get to have whimsy all the fucking time.
Well,
They
yeah.
go good a job as an intern, and then all of a sudden they're a fashion icon,
Yeah.
and then they go into Paris, or they're turning Paris down. I don't know. White people get to do whatever they want
Yeah,
on TV. XD made me watch that. But why can't some things be sensationalized? Like, what's the problem with that? If we watching Monster-in-Law, where they get to go and they're living on a ranch, and then they're gonna have this wedding, and then these are the things that went wrong. But I hate the term first world problems because it's problematic, but they are like very privileged problems. Why can't that also be represented as well? That's flawed. I feel like that's flawed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's attention to with like the, who do we have enough room yet to have representation in that way? And so I talked about that a little bit, which is like the guy struggled with this question of, can we show negative things? Like, today we have shows that have been created where it's like, here's a group of Black gay men and they are drug dealers or they're like criminal. It's like, I interviewed a creator of a web series who was like, I wanted to do like a Black gay The Wire, like with all the characters, that kind of thing. And in some ways, people fought with that, right? They were like, I don't think we have enough. There's not enough good representation out there yet to be trying to say people could be bad too, kind of thing. And I don't think we're there. And people struggle with that.
I struggle with that.
I think I don't know. I just this makes me think, right? So I think there's a lot going on. I know in like education research, a lot going on around this idea of imagination sort of being the bedrock of resistance and progress. Y'all know, friend to the show, Dr. Charles H.F. Davis and our friend Candace Hall are doing a project called Imagine Futures, right? And so it's challenging, Black academics to imagine a future, right? And so it's pushing back on this idea that we have to sort of stay in reality. And like Jay said, like, what would it look like for us to imagine the future that we want in the academy, in the world, et cetera, et cetera. I say that to say one of the things that I think is a key feature of your book that I want to make sure in the spirit of, helping people understand it as a choice, like, in the talk about, I think your work as a ethnographer and why that's so important for a book like this.
Yeah, no, ethnography, I always say, I teach the ethnography classes at the university in our department. And so I was, ethnography means writing culture. And I think ethnography and observing how people are living their real everyday lives is such a key way to understand what's happening. And, I write a bit in the methods, and I also use this in my classes, which is, I think if I hadn't done ethnography, I wouldn't have as accurate data about what people were really doing and how they were navigating things if I wasn't there to observe them. And so one quick example of this was I sat down to do these interviews and was asking people to, early on, I was doing like time use surveys in the interviews where I was asking people to walk me through an entire day in their life. And I sat down with some guys and they were telling me, oh, we got up this morning and then we prayed. And then we went and got breakfast, and then we went back outside again and we prayed again. And I'm listening to them, and now it's like 2:00 on their day, and they prayed like 5 times. And I had been hanging around them at this point for over a year, and I had never seen them pray at all, ever. And so I was like, is prayer a euphemism for smoking weed? And they laughed, and then they were like, well, we didn't want to say it on the tape. We didn't want you to get in trouble. And I was like, I'm like, if you
pray after
you
that.
second grade five. Look, I was over here. I was like, well, were they Muslim?
I'm like, I have never seen y'all pray. Like, what are we talking about?
A little talk with Jesus.
Exactly.
That's
and
what
I'm like, let's be real. So I think it was interesting because it's an example of like, if I hadn't been an ethnographer and like hanging with them and actually seen them, I would have walked away from that being like, these are some of the most religious people I have ever met.
You're like, I've met a faith I've never seen before. It was of a mustard seed.
Exactly. I've never met, but because of ethnography, it made it possible for me to ask the right question at the right time. It also meant that I embedded myself in a way that people knew I wasn't just collecting data and trying to leave.
Yeah.
So I still talk to several people from the project every week.
Love that.
I'm like, you're black and gay, I'm black and gay. Like they reach out to me, I reach out to them, so I didn't want them to feel like it was fully extractive because I think I'm privileged with the opportunity to tell some of their stories in the book. And I feel like my name rides with the book, so all of the fault can lie on me in their stories and their narratives. But also, so does the if people enjoy it or they learn something from it, it also comes from that. But I wanted to be clear that my goal was to use this as an opportunity for them to argue, or for all of us to argue for more spaces and places that help people who need it, right? So this you all are showing us why we need community organizations like this, why people need gay family, why we need more media representation. And I wanted to be able to do that and let them know that my interests are tied to theirs. It's not extractive in that way for me. And so ethnography, it was true to me to be like, let me embed myself so I can actually truly understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love that. That's so very black too.
Yeah.
It's a very black.
I know we're running out of time here, and I have one more question for you, and it regards around family. In the book, there is you talk about family a lot. It's a cornerstone here, and so it seemed as though people are coming to at your community site that you were at to find family, and family has kind of changed in terms of what that is. So can you talk about your journey in discovering family through this lens?
Yeah. I think in the literature, I was saying, when I was growing up, people would say gay family, and they would mean you have a gay mother, a gay father, or you pick someone to be your family. And that, of course, with all this social progress of like, we can get married now, gays can get together, have kids, all that. Now gay families means that. A couple has come together and started a family. And in the literature, I thought it was important to highlight that, one, gay families had always existed before that in these types of configurations.
Yeah.
Two, they only are not, it's not just subscribed to ballroom or circumscribed to ballroom, right? That people have gay mothers and gay fathers and gay siblings and all that outside of the house ballroom community, or even that cuts across the house ballroom community. So your gay father or gay mother could be in a different house than you. And that is, I don't think that's the way that we think about it. And I think when you were talking about like Pose earlier, I think that's an example of like, it does give you this impression that like, that's what a gay family is. I think it's important because family is the primary socialization agent of your life, right?
Yeah.
The family you're born into often dictates how you understand your race, how you understand your sexuality, your gender, your class, your religion. It's often all passed on to you in that way. And so when you don't have a family that is supportive or that you feel like you can learn from, well, I think of that Pepper LaBeija quote in Paris is Burden, which is like, you go out there and you search, right? If you don't have a family, you're going to go out and look for it.
With the young kids who are just out in the streets at 13 and whatnot.
You have to find it. And in the work, I think early on, I was maybe it wasn't as clear to me why people were joining gay families or doing things. I always say in the preface of the book, I talk about when it was first brought up to me to join a gay house or have a gay family. And they were like,
Nigga, you did
get a gay mother.
Someone's mentioned in the book. I don't want
I won't say who, but because I was like, I'm not going to these balls. What are you talking about? And then
when I was like, girl, you're not gonna get this done right if you're not gonna go.
And so I said, no, I have to go. I have to go. That's the ethnography piece. And so I say two things. One, which is when I was in high school and they presented to me what I like a gay mother and gay father. They're like, you need a gay mother and a gay father. And I was like, for what? And they were like, because they can tell you what to do, and how to do it. And I was like, I have a mother and a father, and I don't need anybody else trying to tell me what to do. So I was like, not going to work for me. And so I avoided it, right? I was like, that's not my thing. But I think learning with some good prodding, you need to go understand this. I had a fundamentally skewed perception of even how scoring and things worked at ballroom, or like what was happening for these families in that way, until I went and I learned what it meant. And then meeting people who were like, I'm not in ballroom, but my dad is in ballroom. My gay dad is in ballroom. And I'm not in his house, but he's my gay dad. Right. And so understanding why it was important to create family, and that it's not just like chosen kinship network or like a group of friends, right? Because you can call anyone your group of friends, but like that they're creating family relationships and complex relationships where they see them stronger even than their biological families sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
there's like
this is my
accountability.
person.
There's accountabilities in those relationships, not just labels. Yeah.
A house is like a gang or a clique, a group of people. But basically a house is like a family unit. You have your mother, your father, the children, a princess. If you're in the house, you have to have a name.
If we're going to use media, I know we've mentioned Pose many times, and I do agree with you that it's like, it doesn't get to give the full onion, right? It doesn't get to dig deep into, and understandably so. It's for media. That white man wrote it all there's all kinds of things, right? Or direct, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I think if I think about a relationship in there that might represent what you're saying, it would be, what's her name? It's Electra and, oh my girl, MJ. What was MJ's character's name? Where, what was her name? What was her name in the
Bianca.
Bianca? Thank you.
Bianca, yeah.
So how no matter whether they were in the same house or not, like you said, they would expand. There would be fights. Niggas was getting killed. They had to cover up murders. All kinds of things like that. It was, and then also an accountability, right? Because Electra had issues, and Bianca was like, "Hey, let me." She would hold her accountable. She would hold a mirror to her face, whether she wanted to see it or not. And so I feel like that's giving us a media representation, kind of surface level representation.
Absolutely.
Of what you're saying.
It's a great example, right? And I think for better or worse, Pose, I think of it as like a really good dramatization of Paris is Burning. And does a really good job of expanding the story, giving us a little bit more, bringing it to life in a different way, a little bit, and does a great job at doing that. And, actually employs these wonderful trans actors and actresses who can be on this, on the scene in a way that the folks who were in Paris is Burning originally were not able to, like, they didn't reap the same benefits in that same way. So it is transformative. And it also is another example of there's more than one trans woman in this show.
Yes.
All of the stereotypes about what it means to be a trans woman aren't on this one person, right?
Yes.
Like, or what it means to be gay. There are multiple versions of what it means to be a gay person in the show.
Yes.
So you get to see that. And I think that's what I'm always pushing for, which is we have to diversify the representations so that, it's not just, you see a show and you think that is the only way to be queer and gay. That's the only way you can be that way. And that's why I use the Queer as Folk example, where I say, look, I saw it. And I was like, oh no, if this is gay, I gotta find me a new thing. But then, Noah's Ark comes along and you're like, oh, okay. Yes. I can do this.
You're like, that aligns.
Yes. I was like, and they're black. I was like, they're black. They're like talking about things that I know. There's music here that I know, like artists I know, and what that looks like. And so I think it's important to highlight that. But like family, I couldn't write about this without addressing family. And I think it does kind of bookend the work, right? Which is I'm talking first in the beginning really about biological families and how people are brought up and what they're learning often at home. And then by the end, we're turning to, these chosen gay families. People was like, I am choosing to be in relationship with you, in family. You are my gay mother. I'm going to rely on you. And to take people on as children is a big calling, right? Like they talk about like, I'm paying the way for my kids, or, I'm showing up when something's wrong, or if they're sick, or those things. And they're stepping up to the plate and doing that. And I think it's important to have that, especially in a city like LA. We have a lot of transplants and people who like picked up their stuff and were like, I picked up everything I had in Alabama and I moved to LA to make it.
New York, New York is
you need
the
a
same
family.
way.
Alabama.
I used to host
New York,
Lost Boys Thanksgivings. XD knows he was one of the Lost Boys, and I was Wendy, and I would cook for all these niggas who didn't have families, or they were transplants to the city, or whatever the case, and it was necessary, and that's how we've been able to expand and kind of
Yes.
build our familial community in this way. And so when you add an additional life experience to that, such as being gay, where you've experienced things that I haven't even experienced, then you can see why it's so important, because it's important for everybody. Everybody needs that energy. No, humans across the gambit.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your perspective very, very much.
Thank
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any parting words?
Yeah.
Parting words. Do I have parting words?
Before
That's a
I
great
go
question.
pray.
Yeah, but it's good before we go pray. Everyone go pray. Yeah. No,
Look
I
at
just
Kia.
hope that it's that the book is, even though it's about Black gay men, that I think my goal was to make something that was portable for people who are navigating stigmas, no matter what they are,
Right.
and what unspoiling looks like for different groups. Maybe different things. There may be different pathways. I talk about these three in the book: the community organization, the media, and the family as like primary pathways in the book. There could be others depending on where you are and what stigmas you're navigating and negotiating. But it was important for me to highlight this concept, which is that, I think we talk a lot about trying to destigmatize, and much of the work that's being done is put on the people who are living through the trauma of the stigma. Going to these community organizations, going to places. You're teaching me how to deal with the stigma. That's not going to destigmatize.
Yeah.
The people who need the intervention are the people who have created the stigma around who I am.
Hello.
And until we get to that point, we won't see destigmatization. So for me, unspoiling became this term to really go and to say it's about reformulating the relationship you have with yourself. And if by chance you come to a better understanding and you're accepting yourself, and maybe other people feel okay about it afterwards, that's a good after effect, a good spillover effect. But to me, it was more important to say, no, we need to rework how we feel about what it means to be who we are, living in these bodies with these types of identities today.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Dr. Winder.
Thank you.
Please
Thanks
tell
for
the
having
people where they can find the book, where they can find you, and check out all that you're doing. Please plug yourself.
My social media is Be More Terrell, because I'm from Baltimore.
Negro.
With 0 Baltimore. Say 2.
2.
See,
I don't have the accent, but here's the thing. I don't have it's a whole thing. I didn't even realize it was an accent until I went to college and we watched a video and people were like, "You understand?
Why you don't sound like that?"
And I was like, "That was English." So whole thing. But yes, no, I'm Be More Terrell on social media platforms, and the book is available at Amazon, Rep Club, NYU Press. You can get it anywhere right now for Pride
NYU
Month.
Press?
There is, it's at NYU Press. If you use Pride 40 when you buy it, you get 40% off of the book right
Come
now.
on.
So, celebrating Pride
Double
Month.
discount.
Yes. So find me on all platforms.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
And stay tuned for the next segment.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Are drug-crazed rodents raiding your child's medicine cabinet? Rats on Ritalin next on Six Ed World.
Shout out to Dr. Winder. Okay. Was that not an awesome conversation?
You make sure you all go purchase the book as well, whether you are gay or not. I feel like it's got
learn some shit.
Yeah, it's got conversation for everybody. Yes, and you need to understand.
Disconnect.
Yes.
Leave Love Island alone for a night or two. I know it's hard. Read it on Thursday.
Are you watching this season, XD?
No, I'm not. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I I struggle with reality shows where love is the main prize.
Which is why I was so surprised at how quickly you got propagandized.
Well, they win money on the show.
I watched you.
Well, I know. Well, I had to see. They do win money. However,
unlike a Married at First Sight
they do win money, but it's not enough for me to be like, okay, right?
Okay.
But I also realize like this show is just not for me.
It's not. I think
They are young. They're young people.
Very, very
with,
young people.
With
yes,
like I don't know 22. Like I don't have anybody
no frame
in
of
my
reference.
family that's 22.
Correct. That's
like
correct.
right now.
If I
The
do, I don't
youngest
really
is
know them
5.
like that. You know what I'm
So
saying?
I struggle to relate to them
and it's,
as well. Yes.
And I don't want to. Like, you know what I mean? Like I don't. And it's not that I don't want to, but I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun because they don't need to know me. They don't need to know us either.
Yeah.
And that it's a mutual disrespect.
Yeah. A mutual unknowing, if you will.
I'm going to watch Big Brother as per usual.
Yes.
That's because we've been doing.
We're very invested at this point.
Watch Big Brother.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that's what we do.
I have to do it.
Plus, it's easier to navigate, and plus,
it's less a commitment. It's just once a week as opposed to every day.
If you choose to engage in live feeds, and that's different.
Yes.
But you really need to watch one episode of the week.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Before you do your petty peeve, as you all are bringing up TV, so sorry.
Jade, you should do Big Brother with us this year. Jade of all Jade.
You keep trying to rope me into.
I think just give it. Consider it. Just give it a.
I'll think about it.
Think about it.
Listen, I just think we're coming up on the 1,000th episode.
Oh wow!
You have a month. You have 30 days from today or yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's gonna be a good time. I won't even make you watch the live feeds.
Yeah, nigga, because I won't. First of all,
it is weird though. I mean,
so
I never thought that I would. It's weird, but it's like I'm waking up and watching other people. Like I'm literally checking these feeds.
Like I am literally intentionally in other bitches' business.
Oh, it's very wild.
Yes,
it is. Very wild.
It's like watching live tribal on Survivor, like all the time.
It is.
That's why when Sari was on, it was magical. We was locked in for 93
days. You know how
days.
I feel, but you know how I feel about Sari Fields, though.
Yeah,
you know how I feel about her.
I even encourage you to watch her season that she was on. Just a couple episops, just so you could be like, okay, I see what this is about. Like the games is
give it a whirl.
The games are corny. They're not like there is real gameplay though. Like there is some shady shit that does go down.
Okay.
And people do be off the wall. They say racist shit all the time. It's fun to watch and get caught. Well, they get kicked out, but it's fun.
I mean, for the blatantly racist shit, but there's also just the standard
microaggressions. And shit.
Yeah, and I feel like Black women on Big Brother is always a wild ride, right? Because there's a certain way that people engage and perceive of Black women in that space, and all of their prejudice and bias falls out very quickly, even when they try to conceal it, especially among the progressive girls, right, and the gays.
It's true.
You see, I'm like, oh, your racism fell right out, girl. You was trying to hold it in, but I see it. Look at it; it's right there. So that's always, that's always an interesting angle, and to me, it's just something that it's kind of strangely become a part of the summertime for me. It's just kind of like, it's Big Brother.
There's a part of the summer.
Yeah.
It's escape because I don't have to think about anything else. They tell you 900 times what happened.
Yeah. And you can escape the reality of this world by going over there into this closed social experiment and just like, I'm not even dealing with what y'all are talking about. I'm going to see what these people are doing. So that's been helpful. But yeah, just think about
it. Consider it. I will. I will consider that.
Think about it.
Takia.
Yes, I'm ready. My petty peeve. I talked about this a little bit.
Yes.
Were you going to ask me something else?
I was.
What? Go ahead.
XD and I already had our conversation. You can go find it on Patreon.
Okay.
Jade and XD's Patreon. We would like to know your thoughts.
What conversation did we have?
Drag Race. The final episode of the second bracket of Drag Race. Your thoughts?
I don't know where to begin. I feel like Silky is doing what I know Silky to do in terms of how the gameplay and the points and how that all worked out.
She refilled the situation.
I mean, it was kind of, even though I was like, I was kind of genius the way that it just she engineered that. in a way that was most favorable for her, which in all of the ways that I struggle, with my sister Silky and the ways that she gets on my nerves, it's like it's masterful gameplay. Okay.
Yeah, it was good gameplay.
It's masterful gameplay. I did at least feel better that she was worried that if my sister Crystal Meth if Crystal didn't get that last point, I was at least encouraged that Suki was feeling bad. She was over there stressed. Like, if they don't give Crystal this point, if Crystal is not in the top 2 after I done did all of this nigger rigging, I was encouraged
because that's exactly what she did.
Nigger rigging. It was nigger rigging for sure. I felt better about that. I'm trying to think because I watched it a little while ago. Vibe.
How did you feel about Selena's reaction?
Oh yeah,
Selena gets on my nerves, and I'm just trying to. I don't know if Selena's reaction. I wonder why Selena feels so entitled. To me, I feel like there's like an entitlement there, and it's like she just didn't have the points. She didn't have the wins. She didn't have the points. She got a win, right? If I'm remembering correctly. I'm getting a little confused because I told you that I went back to watch. I'm now like watching season 12 because I went back and watched. Silky's original, and then I'm in season 12. So I feel like all this Drag Race is coming together in my mind.
That's Jada's season, right?
Season. Yes, I think
that's Jada and the Queen we don't talk about.
Oh yeah. Oh, Sherry Pie.
Yeah,
she was.
We don't talk about Bruno.
A cherry pie.
It was so wild though, but yeah. So I feel like I have a lot of Drag Race in my mind. I'm trying to keep track of this most recent one. So I feel like I don't remember. Okay, Selena felt like Selena. Okay, yes, because she was looking for the Tres Leches to back her up, and all of them left my sister out there by herself. Okay, yes. Now I remember.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
And Aura, she was also relying on Aura to give her a point. Remember?
Now, I didn't think Aura had it in her. And I felt like it was interesting that Aura, because Aura didn't get nothing out the equation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
All of the ways that Aura was moving, to me, it did not benefit her directly. So I think if you juxtapose that against the way that Silky was moving, like it was very intentional gameplay that benefited Silky directly. Where I feel like Aura
knew she wasn't going.
Aura was just
she knew
looking.
She wasn't though.
Yeah, and that's why I thought it was interesting that she left Selena out there. I was most annoyed because Selena kept saying peck peck. It was like, girl. Say it one more time. And she's not listening to you, girl. Stop saying it. Like, it was irritating.
Yeah.
But no, what did y'all think? I mean, I think it was wild to see her reaction. Like, she blew up in a way that I thought that she would. But like, what did y'all think?
We had a bit of a disagreement too.
We did.
Yeah.
And I think I recognize this is me playing Survivor.
Okay.
Because I did not. I think S Titty should have fought Aura in April.
See, and I'm playing Who the Fuck Are You Talking To? And I was like, how you gonna make all these alliances and then black on me for not voting for you, bitch? Like, after I've been peeping you be shady in this workroom, bitch, I'm not giving you shit.
Selena.
And that's why I conceded and I said, fine with Aura. I still don't like the heifer, but it's fine. But April Carrion, who was just there for looks, like STDs carried her. Like,
that's true.
She did.
Through these last
that's true.
3 episodes.
That's true.
And
then Silky boosted her ego with that one little point that didn't.
But it was so interesting though.
She threw it off.
That was
she
interesting.
Threw off. I couldn't write anybody's name down. That's what that gave to me.
But I just feel like it was interesting because April and Silky had been sort of like giving each other a lot And so it was interesting to see how
Typical
quickly
Puerto Rican macroaggression.
But yeah, so
You know?
it was interesting to see how quickly. Like I feel like all Silky had to do was ask April for her point, and she gave it. Like it was not, there was no objection, which I was just like, what is that about?
Over engineering the game.
Yeah. Production.
Because I called it from the first episode. I was like, oh, Silky and Crystal are going.
Yes.
I was like, if Silky's not, it's Titties.
Well, I thought Silky because of the I thought I didn't either. I thought Silky because of the redemption of the lip sync with Akira. That's what I was thinking about.
Yes.
Same.
But I also was thinking like, well, out of this crop of queens, who has been like most improved? And this goes to what you were talking about, Kia, about like the entitlement Titties has.
Yeah.
And I can see how this happens to a lot of queens when they come on All Stars. They took all the critique.
Now Jan was season 12. I'm watching Jan's first season now.
Jan
like, girl.
she worked mine.
You about to be.
Oh, she wears me. She wears me.
But then when she gets to All Stars, it's like, damn.
But
I mean, when she got to All Stars, it was
talented.
very much like, damn, they just don't like you, bitch.
They don't like
that's
her.
really sad, man.
But she's talented.
She's very talented, but the personality's just not there. She's irritating. I don't think I would like her neither. And
She's too thirsty.
I like her now.
She's too thirsty. Panini
I need
Press.
to watch
she
her
was
All
on Drag Race.
Yeah, I didn't watch her
Yeah,
All Stars. I need to watch her All Star season, but I've just watching her original Drag
sister,
Race season.
Prepare to be sad.
And she had a really sad, especially the Madonna episode. It's
the Madonna episode. Oh, they just did the Madonna musical in season 12.
That was so bad because that was Jan's episode.
Oh yeah,
She
that was
like,
when Crystal Method did
and that's when Gigi
era.
became Madonna.
Yeah,
and she was doing the thing.
Oh yeah, with the
transformed into Madonna because the rehearsal it was given like Gigi girl what's happening.
Yeah, baby dear.
Yeah, it was given what's going on, but then she showed out at the musical, which was like, okay, I didn't see that coming.
Presenting our very own girly show. It's the world premiere of Madonna, the unauthorized Rusical.
Madonna X is a lover. Madonna X.
I think I'm at the episode where Widow got sent home.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Snatch Game?
No, she got sent home after the debates. When they did the debate.
Did Widow
over
get
there.
Snatch
Yeah.
Game?
Yeah, they did the Snatch. Did they do Snatch? Yes, they did Snatch Game because what's the name?
She was the robot.
Yeah, what's it? The one.
Oh yeah, she was the robot.
She was Cardi B. What's her name? I'm thinking about the little one. The little
I
black
gotta
one.
rewatch.
Yeah, pandemic season is real murky.
Yeah, I think right after Black Widow went home is when they had to go.
Is that Tina Burner season?
Mm-mm.
No,
that
that was 11.
It's Gigi
Cox.
Good. It's Jackie Cox.
Oh yeah, Jackie Cox. Heidi.
Heidi
Heidi.
Aphrodite
yeah.
finally landed on the name. Heidi, I think Heidi goes home next. I don't know. Does Heidi make it?
Where's Heidi?
Heidi
She's
came
on
to
a-
All
she's
Stars.
on-
She did have an All Stars. Wasn't she,
She
on
did,
All
but I
Stars?
feel like she's been quiet.
There's a new show.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's on Out TV. It's with Titties, Heidi, Marsha.
Okay.
They're all living in a house.
Okay.
And being queens.
Where's
I don't-
Gigi?
you know what I mean?
Like, what is Gigi doing now?
Oh,
Gigi is a woman in Paris.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that's
She's a
right.
woman.
She left
of
the country
town.
and she is a woman in Paris.
I know that's right. Go off.
Yeah, that's literally.
I wanted
it.
her to get a salon, but hey, people have different.
Because that bitch on some hair. That bitch. The fact
Simone-
that
all of
Simone
Simone's
Ye's
hair
hair,
is
please. Yeah, Gigi did all Simone's hair.
Really?
But sorry, that was a very long
Yeah, I'm
way
sorry.
before your petty beef.
But yes, I'll report. Yeah, we should reconnect. I'm interested to see what this week's episode is going to give. Because isn't it the
Come
third
on the
bracket?
Patreon and discuss with
I
us
will.
after
I sure
the
will.
third bracket.
I will.
Yes.
I love that. Okay, petty peeves. Here's what I want to say. What gets on my nerves? Okay, what really jams my Glock, particularly in work settings, And this is something that I feel like I've only experienced in communicating with men, white men specifically, but men. When we're having a conversation and there is a gap in understanding, or like, what I'm saying is not something that, it's going to take some work for us to get to a place of shared understanding. There's always this assumption if they don't understand that I'm confused. So a lot of when you're talking, it's like, no, I think you're confusing. It's like, hold on a minute, Nathan. I'm not confused. You're confused. I'm very clear. You're confused. And
You're a poor communicator.
I have had to stop several people in their tracks at work, because it's like, if I'm explaining something, you can say that what I'm saying is confusing. You can say that the way that I'm explaining it is not making it clear to you. You can own that, but you have to own that the confusion is yours. You can't project the fact that you're confused on everybody else that you're talking to. And I'm saying that because when I experience, I've never heard a man say that to another man, but there's a way that when a man is speaking to a woman, and not just me, I've also observed it happening between interactions that don't involve me directly. But when a man is speaking to a woman and he doesn't know what's happening, he will say like, "Oh, I think you're misunderstanding." No, Paul, you're misunderstanding. You can say, I don't know. You can say, can you explain that to me? You can say, I'm confused by what you're saying, but you can't assume that because you don't understand, we don't understand. Okay? I understand. You can say that you don't. Don't project your lack of understanding onto me, and that's my petty peeve. Because, are you kidding, Russell? I will knock you out.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Don't try me, because I know what I'm talking about.
They also fake. It's fake confusion oftentimes for them to get their way and what they want. Short story. When I was in college, I worked at Papados, and you had to slide your card to put in the people's order or whatever, right? So we had different stations to go and put people's orders in.
Yep.
So I go over to computer, slide my card. I start putting my table's order in. This white boy comes over and hip bumps me and cancels me to slide his card, which automatically cancels my shit out. So at first I'm like, of course, I'm like, there's no way he's that all day. Like, you playing, but like, I'm not with that right now. So can you stop? So I was like, hey, and he was a big white boy. He's about your size, XD, but think about me and a nigga your size that's white. And so I was like, come on, stop, like, cut the bullshit. Like, so I move him out the way and I slide my card again.
Sturdy,
This nigga did this again. So I said, oh, you're not playing. Like, you're not kidding right now. I was like, stop, because we're going to have a problem and I'm going to get fired. Like, stop it now. And this nigga called me a bitch.
Whoa. Huh?
Called me a bitch.
What's the issue? That he felt like you should go first? He should go first? Like, what? Like, is it
there was no explanation as to why you bumped me out the way and then you're calling me. There was nothing in. So he calls me a bitch and I was like, okay. And I knew what was getting ready to happen. I was prepared to lose my job. And because he was a big white man, I got that right in the throat.
Throat chop.
And I was like, throat good. It was more like a throat fist bump. Okay, it wasn't quite a punch. I didn't snuff him. It wasn't a chop. It was more like a. So he fell out because he's gasping. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a windpipe, and he was big. The bigger they are, and so he falls. The managers are freaking the fuck.
Oh my god!
Right? Oh my God, Jade, go back in the office. I was like, I gotta put their order in. They were like, which table? We'll have somebody. I was like, they need it now. This is already too much bullshit. No, go back in the office right now, Jade. Back in the office now. I'm
punched him in the throat and went back to working. It's fascinating. I love that.
I tried. They were like, yo, no. They had somebody else. They were like, go back and take their order. Everybody saw what happened because it happened on the floor.
Yeah.
Right? The computers are on the outskirts of the floor. So it's not like my table would have been confused as to why the orders were put. I go back in the office. I get every fucking manager in there. Okay, now when you work at Pop, you got a GM, you got a floor manager, you got the kitchen manager. It's every nigga in there. And I was like, oh, it takes all of you. They were like, what were you thinking? I said, look at the cameras. He bumped me out the way multiple times as I'm putting my table's order in. Now, how would you all like me to handle that when I have asked him several times to stop doing it? You could have gone to another computer. I was like, you're putting this on me.
Yeah.
And I don't fuck with that. I said that white boy knocked me out of the way multiple times. Now, do you want to put that on the record? Because I'm happy to talk about it. They didn't want that kind of smoke. So I got sent home for the day and not fired, but they never put me on a shift with this motherfucker again.
Good.
See, that's why I operate off of the MO. I'll kill us all.
Exactly. Like the U.S. government.
I'll kill us all.
Listen, we all going together. You understand?
Okay.
It's your choice. We all going together. Okay?
We ball.
It's up to you. It's up to you. We all going together. How about that?
No, their entitlement and their entitled even within conversation is infuriating. It's out of control.
It's wild because it's very much like, nah. And it's very clear. And it's like, you wouldn't say that to anybody else.
Wouldn't do it to another big white
exactly.
man.
So why do you feel comfortable? Oh, no, I think you're misunderstanding. Oh, no, I think you're misunderstanding. Like, let's be clear about that. So we can get to a place of clarity. I'm even happy to say, okay, I could communicate that better or differently. That does not mean that I'm confused or ignorant. It means that you don't know. And we can get to a place. Yeah, we can get to a place where we know. But I just think you have to be careful. You let people say that kind of stuff to you, that stuff follows you. Oh, then it's like, Takia doesn't communicate this, or that's like, yeah. So you gotta nip that in the bud and do it right away. But that's a pattern that I have noticed, particularly as a woman in the workplace, and it's very much like, let me help you, Dan. Get the hell out of here, okay? Let me help you.
That also lends to a larger conversation about how unqualified most of them are for the jobs they're in, and they're only in those jobs because of who they are as people. And I'm not going to have that now because we've gone off the rails multiple times, but they're confused because they're dumb and unqualified.
And embarrassed by it.
Yeah, and then they want to make the fact that they want to make you some sort of anomaly. Oh, Takia, you have such a knack for this. It's like, no, sis, I got a PhD. No. I went to school for many years. I went to school for many years. I know exactly how to do this because I trained to do it.
Because I'm qualified.
That's the difference between you and me. Okay, I trained.
Fucking qualified.
But that's a different conversation.
I love that.
Since you're ready with a petty peeve, you got yours.
Oh, I just did mine. It was that white boy, and I think I'm irritated. Yeah, I just sandwiched it into yours. I think I'm irritated because they never put me in another shift with him again. And I play the long game with my enemies, and I have a very short but potent list. And so that white boy is forever. It's up. It's stuck. Also, Dawn, who used to work at the grill, who lives off the Q train, bitch. I haven't forgot you. 13 years later.
13.
So
kill us all.
13 years. Please no.
13 years later, it's still stuck. All right. XD, what's your petty peeve?
Oof. I've been thinking about this for a while. So this week, I was blessed with the opportunity to go see a film called Scary Movie 2026.
Oh, I've heard this. Isn't it like the 10th one?
It is. It's
Fast and Furious.
More than
13.
enough.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were forced.
Yeah. We Jade and I saw it. And it was fine and all that stuff. But what really pissed me off is the after effect of the movie, right? And it's kind of to your point, Takia, this idea of when, and I guess me as like working as a part-time comedian sometimes, I hate when people like try to defend jokes or sometimes, especially like when the Kevin Hart roast thing came out, there was so many comedians going out to defend and extend their necks out for no fucking reason.
How do you stand
it's
up
okay to
without a
shut the fuck
spine?
up sometimes.
Right.
But anywho, so when it comes to this movie, it's art. People are free to interpret the way they would like to. Art is, it's subjective.
Yes.
Some people call it art. It is a motion picture.
Yes,
so
it is a
therefore,
motion picture.
is
It's
art.
a motion picture.
Okay, yeah.
So, I think the movie, if I'm going to be complimentary, I would call it hot garbage and cheese.
I was gonna say it stunk. What do you mean?
Yeah, like that is as far as compliments go for me. Like Cats, the movie was better.
Oh, with Jennifer
And that's a
Hudson.
lot. Yeah, be
And you know
weird
how
on
deeply
screen.
uncomfortable we all felt looking at that.
Uncomfortable. But that was interesting to watch.
Oh, yes.
This was, I could have been at home and saw this on the YouTube.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
But what irritated me is the fact that, like, oh, you don't like X comedy, or you don't find this funny because X, Y, and Z. And I understand that comedy is subjective and stuff, but there are just some things that are categorically unfunny. But honestly, you got the money.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to beat down my throat about why I need to like this movie. I bought the ticket, Pop.
And I don't have to like, I don't have to like
you
it.
niggas went platinum or whatever the case is in movie shit.
Yeah, like, it's okay, bro.
I don't have to like it.
And,
no,
you know,
because you
I don't
said
have
so.
to like
or
it.
because you like it.
Yeah. And I think that's what I get irritated about, like, just creators in general, how they feel emboldened and entitled to your like, because they think social media likes are real likes in real life. But people think that they're entitled to your favoritism, your what you find to deem as an escape mechanism, right? And it's like, that's super dumb, right, and selfish, right? Like, I think because everybody's moving this individualism, right? Because I always talk about how the idea of the algorithm is going to kill us all. Psychologically, because of the fact that everybody thinks everything is around them, because they can critique it, make everything to their liking, and not realizing that they're blocking out the rest of the world.
Does not revolve around you,
or your opinions and preferences in that way.
Yes,
and it's unrealistic. Yeah, it's unrealistic for you to move about the world thinking that you can always dissociate or remove yourself from uncomfortable things and people. That's not real life. The work is in learning to manage yourself. Yeah,
I think my petty peeve ultimately is people who are afraid of friction,
conflict, difference,
conflict, big difference. Because if I were to say, if everybody in the world were to say I like this fucking movie, then they're gonna keep making the same horrible fucking movie.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like, there needs to be critique, an honest critique about things, and the way we live, and have honest dialogue about things, the way we get to a better understanding of who we are as a people, and to make a path forward to being better.
Yes. And we can be critical without being harmful, without being dismissive, without being violent or negative or problematic. We can just simply say, or we can push, we can interrogate, we should question, we can be curious. Like, that's natural and normal. And those are the things that keep our brains engaged. I think this is super important now, because all of this consensus and going along, it's really just helping the people not to use their brains in a way that is concerning.
Yes. And I love that idea of the algorithm, because it's true. It's ruining everything. You see, another component of white supremacy.
Yeah. Al Gore warned us, but hey.
Didn't he?
They don't believe all their own whites. And that's another conversation. They don't trust each other. But that's next.
And we gotta pay. We gotta pay for that. Yeah, we have to pay for the fact that they don't trust each other.
And justifiably, y'all just, maybe if you would just be better. you all put so much effort into the things that just don't make things better. It's so crazy to me.
They gotta redefine better and shit like that. And we don't have that kind of time.
I know, and they may not have Anyway, thank you all so much for listening to both Jade and XD and Getting Grown. Getting Jade and XD.
Getting Jade and XD grown.
Yeah. Thank you to Dr. Winder for coming through.
Yes.
And sharing such an important and necessary conversation. Once again, you all can find the links to the book in your various description boxes across the board. And sister, take them out and tell everyone what to do.
Okay, I will. Just say thanks and hey, and to all of the Jaden XD audience. I love to hang out with you guys, so I just want to say hi. And also to everyone, y'all know how we do. We want to make sure that you are moisturizing your mind, and you do that by minding your business. Okay, not worried about what them other people are doing. You gotta let them do them, and we got to worry about ourselves as a people. that feels very pertinent to say
Stay
right
in your
now.
own algorithm.
That's right. Secondly, you want to hydrate your body, right? That's how you keep your body moist and supple and growing and agile, especially around your joints, okay? Because very important as we age. Hello? So drinking your water, as much water as your body can sustain every day, okay? That's how you do that.
Coconut oil is also good for that.
Absolutely. And you finally, speaking of coconut oil, you want to moisturize your skin. Okay,
but not with coconut oil,
because it's non-comedogenic. It will clog your pores.
Yeah.
But you know,
acne boots.
Yeah. So make sure that you are moisturizing your skin, which is your largest organ, and that is foundational and fundamental to making sure that your black does not crack, because it will if it's dry. Bye, y'all.
Bye bye.
Yes, we're moving on.